Well, we have some new information now on that controversial, secretive California Capitol Annex project.
That's the construction of a new office building for lawmakers and the governor. Project leaders for years have been keeping taxpayers in the dark about the cost of this new building. It's expected to cost at least $1 billion. Our KCRA 3 political director Ashley Zavala joins us with a new push for transparency. Ashley?
Lisa, well, nearly 3 months after promising to be more transparent, project leaders have yet to give an update on the cost of this project. They're also rejecting our repeated requests for an interview. At last check, more than 3 years ago, this was going to cost taxpayers $1.1 billion. But we broke the story back in 2024 that thousands of people, including project leaders, have signed non-disclosure agreements, legally agreeing to keep basic information about this project a secret. Well, a new bill at the state capitol filed last week could end the secrecy and force a very public conversation. Capitol Annex construction workers on lunch. Hi there. How's it going in there?
No comment.
Tight-lipped.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't talk. I don't want to get in trouble here.
Instructed to not say anything.
Just checking to see how the construction's going.
Like any other job, I reckon.
Okay. I know you can't really share much though, right? Have you all been told you can't share much?
I don't know.
We tried with them because we're still not getting much from project leaders. These workers, some state lawmakers, government officials, and thousands of others have signed non-disclosure agreements to keep basic information about the project a secret.
I think when you're going to spend over $1 billion, you need to have more transparency than this.
Assemblyman Josh Hoover filed a bill that would toss those secrecy agreements.
The bill would, in one part, obviously void any existing NDAs on the project, which in my opinion have been used to sort of shroud this project in secrecy, and a lot of people hiding behind those NDAs to block information coming out, even to legislators.
Hoover's bill would also prohibit construction of a new visitor center on the west side of the main state capitol, which was originally part of the plan. Project leaders quietly decided to not move forward with it. It's one of several decisions they've made behind closed doors.
We have heard that that visitor center may or may not happen, but what we really want to see is just assurances.
We believe it's also important for us to be transparent.
Months after promising to be more transparent, lawmakers leading the project, Assemblymember Blanca Pacheco and State Senator John Laird, have since rejected our repeated requests for an interview. The two have been defending the use of the project's NDAs to protect security and sensitive bidding information.
Why not change this NDA to say what the two of you are saying right now about security and bids?
So these are drafted by legal counsel, and so I cannot say why legal counsel would draft it in such a manner. Sometimes legal counsel prefers to have broad language.
We're told construction is more than halfway through and the building is expected to be complete by fall of 2027.
It's puzzling.
Dick Cowan used to lead the state's now defunct Historic State Capitol Commission. He supports Hoover's bill.
Which is the only way the current leaders of the project can really find out what went wrong and how they could avoid this on future projects. They have to talk to everyone involved. And of course, at the moment, those people are afraid to speak.
Now, in a statement together, those project leaders, Assemblymember Blanca Pacheco and State Senator John Laird, said they're aware of the proposal and will let the legislative process run its course. When I asked about the updated cost estimate today, they said they're still waiting for project managers to, quote, crunch the numbers and will share as soon as they can. I should note, they've been saying this for the last 3 months.
Well, and I'm just curious, two questions. Well, Cowan just said they're afraid to speak. Why are they afraid to speak? And what is the governor saying about all this?
Right. I mean, that's the question, is why is everyone so, I mean, honestly, this project predates so many of the people at the state capitol right now. It's really not clear what they're trying to protect. Meanwhile, Governor Gavin Newsom, I did reach out to his office today. Now, again, his office does not oversee the day-to-day decision-making on this project, but I just asked if he has anything to add here. Nothing yet. We are still waiting to hear back.
I mean, because you shouldn't be scared to just tell the truth and be honest about it, right?
And at some point, maybe we'll get an update. That's what project leaders are saying.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.